FloWay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's one of my favorite joints though, of the project, man.
Yeah, nah, that's a vibe right there. We actually
That's a
just
vibe
shot.
right there.
We shot the video, so the video should be coming soon. So I'm excited.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Everyone who is just tuning in, this is the FloWay Show, season 3. I have a very, very special guest on the show tonight. HOT97 Zone. You know the vibes, the movement, heavy hitters. You may have seen him on Love and Hip Hop New York. I'm talking to the homie, got that new project out, Seat at the Table. The homie
Yes, sir.
DJ Drewski. I show him some love in the comments. You know the vibes. What's up, my brother?
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. You know your vibe is contagious. You know what I'm saying?
Hello.
Yes, sir. You know that.
You already know. You know, we're gonna talk about the new album. We're gonna talk about all of the good stuff that you got popping right now. But I want to take it back to the beginning of your career because you have a very awesome story. You know, can you remember the time? Can you remember like when you first had that spark in you and you wanted to be a DJ? Can you remember that? What year it was? What you was doing?
I try to remember, but because it felt like it started so young. You know what I'm saying? From just being around music, growing up around hip hop. You know, with my older brothers and my cousins and everyone in the family listening to hip hop music. That was just the only music pretty much that I knew. Like, of course, my mom used to have on, you know, like freestyle and KTU when she's cleaning the house on the weekends. And my pops listened to rock and roll, but I wasn't around that as much as I was hip hop music. And I don't know, I just fell in love with the music first because I could relate to a lot of what they was talking about. I grew up in Jersey. Shout out to my Elizabeth, you know, family. We call it Eastwick. And, you know, it was just a love for the music first. And then once I started to realize, you know, almost like as a teen, that there was superstar DJs like Funkmaster Flex and Mr. C and DJ Enough and Kid Capri and all these DJs I would hear on the radio, DJ Envy, you know, as I got older. But when I was young, I heard these DJs and they were like larger than life DJs. And I still didn't realize, I could make a career off of this. I thought only they could do it. But once I realized, oh, no, they're regular people. They're not superheroes. These are just people that follow their dream. I said, I'm going to do the same thing. And that's really what it was. It's like once I realized, you know, I love music and then I love the art of DJing. And then I realized there's people out here that's doing it for a living. Like you can make a living off of it. That's when it was like maybe around like 14, 15 is when I was like, okay, let me start taking it serious and figuring out how I could be at that level. And, you know, it takes years to do it, but you got to build your brand. You got to build your skills. And, you know, as a DJ, it's not easy. There's a lot of DJs out here, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, it took a while, but I just grinded it out. And I was loyal to every opportunity I got. When, you know, at a certain point when DJ Cypher Sounds opened that door and let me intern, and basically I was maybe with him, I want to say like 20 hours a day, 6 days a week, and maybe getting $100 here and there. It was never about the money. You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh my God, I'm closer to that dream I had. So when you're doing it for the love and not for the money, I think that's when you really excel in it. And I feel like that's what happened to me.
Absolutely. You know, there's no longevity when you're not really dedicated to this, because you know how it is in this industry. The money's not as great. You know,
it takes a while before you can touch some money.
You know, it takes a while. It really takes a while, and even when you're at a certain level, you know, there's always more. You always want more, but you know, if you're not really driven and you're not ready to put that work in, you're not really gonna see the fruits of that labor. And for those who don't know, HOT97, being a DJ from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and even, you know, in some other cities in the world. At some point or another, every DJ wanted to be on HOT97. You know, that's a big fact. And you know, and you've made it there, and you've been there. How many years? How many years have you been at Hot now?
I've been at HOT97 technically, right, on paperwork, because I was doing work before I was technically even on paperwork. But since
how'd that go?
Yeah, since like 2008. But I didn't get on the air to about, I want to say like 6, maybe 7 years ago. So half of the time I was there, I was doing other stuff. I was board hopping. I was producing Angie Martinez's show. I was doing all the video production in the beginning. But I've been there technically since 2008.
Yeah, because I'm like, I've seen you at the station so long. It's it doesn't feel like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's talk about your first Summer Jam set. Being a DJ from Jersey, at that stadium at MetLife, what was that feeling for you going into your first set at Hot 97 Summer Jam? Did that feel like your mama made a moment?
Nah, because I feel like to even get those opportunities, you have to go through big experiences, which I already was going through. But honestly, me DJing at Summer Jam was not even a DJ set for like the station. It was, I think the first time was like me DJing for Mano, and then I did Mano and Uncle Murder set. So to me, that's even bigger because we're performing at that point. It's not just playing all the hottest records. We're performing, and when you performing in front of 50,000 people, like before the music even come on, once you step on that stage and I'm plugging in my laptop, I'm plugging in, the equipment, you start getting those butterflies and you're like, oh, this shit is real and there's no turning back. This stage is about to spin and you are in front of 50,000 and you as the DJ, you're the first person they see. So whatever move you decide to make, it got to be big. So, yeah, shout out to my guy, shout out to Mano. That's like my brother, but he was actually the first one, I think, to put me on the main stage. Besides that, I was, I'm hosting the festival stage and DJing the festival stage, which is already crazy. That's just a build-up. But that main stage, that's a different type of feeling.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Summer Jam, I know you may not be able to say much, but is there any talks about Summer Jam happening this year?
Listen, we talk about it all the time, but it's really up to the laws and the COVID rules and all that. So I know the team is definitely on it, waiting for those updates, reaching out to the venues, shout to MetLife Stadium. But it's really up to like whatever the legal process is. And I'm way too low on the totem pole to understand that.
Nah. You one of the big dogs. What is your favorite Summer Jam? While we on Summer Jam, what is your favorite performance? It could be one that you witnessed or didn't witness. What is your favorite Summer Jam?
There's been so many, right? People talk about when Jay-Z brought out Michael Jackson. I wasn't there for that one. But for me personally, as a DJ, like as now producing music, I don't know. For some reason, the Kanye West versus Swizz Beatz, the battle, the producer battle, that was my favorite. Like the energy and just the records they were dropping, it was like insane. So that was one of my favorite moments. Watching them go back and forth, just hit bangers on top of bangers, and the artist wasn't even there. Just them dropping the songs they produced. The stadium was insane. So that was one of my favorite. I see. Joe said that's his favorite too.
That was a classic moment. I remember that.
Classic.
You've been known as that guy to be really in tune with the streets, musically on like Who's Next, right? You broke a lot of records on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
What's like a piece of your formula with discovering new talent? Because being from New Jersey, being in New York, being a DJ on one of the biggest stations in the world,
right.
Of course you get people that come up to you all the time like, yo, hear me out. Here's my track. You know what I mean? People will stop you in the middle of the club while you're doing your thing and be trying to give you a record. So what's kind of like that formula for you to be like, yo, listen, this person is really, really next?
It's really just being in tune and being outside. As a DJ, in order to be on something early, you got to be where it's coming from, where, and that comes from the streets a lot of the times. And now, of course, with the internet, but even before it gets to the internet, a lot of these records come from the streets. So it's really being outside and just being in tune with different DJs. If I'm not in Brooklyn at the time, at least I know there's a DJ in Brooklyn that I could reach out to and say, yo, what's the hottest record in your city right now? What's the hottest record in the hood right now? And I could do that in Queens. I could do that in Staten Island. No matter where it is, I'm kind of in tune with all the boroughs. I'm in Jersey. I'm in the clubs. I'm still DJing in the clubs. So I'm catching it from the very bottom, before the artists are signing record deals, before record promoters are, emailing stuff out. It's just, and it's not like a secret. It's not even like a secret formula. It's just like, yo, I'm really outside. I'm really in tune. I could DJ in the Hamptons and do a party for, a bunch of rich people. And then at the same day, I'm in Queens at a little tiny strip club, hole in the wall, and you kind of feel like what people are rocking with. Like, yo, you know, these kids in Queens are going crazy. The first time little TJ said that we met, I didn't even remember, was at a club in the Bronx, like some little club in the Bronx. Little TJ pulls up. At that time in the car, he said the person that drove him there was Pop Smoke. Like, I didn't even know that, but you see how things just come full circle and how just being in tune with one artist or one person could lead you building relationships. So they never even told me that. I just seen it in the interview he did with Ebro. He's like, yeah, the first time I met Drewski, well, the first time I met Pop Smoke was the same day I met Drewski. And I'm like, wow, look at that. You know what I'm saying? 5 years later, you're talking about the biggest artist out of New York City that was around before they was even on the radio.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, with you playing a lot of new artists, right, on the radio, has HOT ever been like on the opposite side of the table with you playing new artists? Like,
Nah, I think in the beginning, you know, no one was interested in new artists at the, you know, when we first started it, because to be honest, new artists, new music, there's new music on the radio. When people hear it, they switch the station. So to avoid that, you want to play the biggest records. So at first, I don't think, you know, they wasn't in tune with it. But once they start realizing, like, there's big artists coming out of New York City. Like, the first time A Boogie was on the radio, I played them. The first time Pop Smoke was on the radio, like their songs played on the radio, I played it. Fabio Foreign. The list just goes on. The Chef G's, the Sleepy Hollows. So it's like, if we're not breaking these artists from our town first, and we're the biggest station in the world, but we're a New York station, we're not breaking these tri-state artists, and they're going other places. That makes, you know, the brand look crazy. And I'm all for, if I'm a part of something, we're gonna go hard. So it's not just about me. It's about that legacy that HOT97 has, that the guys that did it before me created. I owe it to them. You know what I'm saying? You let me in the club, now I gotta hold you down.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. Like your debut album, Seat at the Table. I'm gonna get into that. You on the cover, right? On the cover art, you have like some of the biggest DJs in those gold frames behind you. Who was out of those DJs that's up there? Who was like the DJ that you studied the most on your come up?
It's hard because every DJ had like different traits that made them who they were, made them special. Of course, Flex, we know, you know, he just, as far as entertainment goes, he's an entertainer. Outside of just the DJing world, we remember Flex for like his car shows. And that's, you know, that was impactful for me to say, yes, he's a great DJ, but he could jump into other stuff. You know, you had Kid Capri, who gets on stage and his energy is bigger than artists that perform. You can have an artist with a hit record, then you have Kid Capri DJing, and his energy is just different. You have Mr. C, who his knowledge of music, the history that he has, you know, that he comes with is unmatched. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mr. C is like a hip hop librarian. Like, we call his laptop the Bible because he got any record you could think of, and he could go straight to it. My memory is like kind of shot, so I don't even know how he could do that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, everyone had like different traits and what they did and what they brought, you know, and what I remember as a kid that influenced me, you know, Envy was just like that fly guy, Clue with the mixtapes, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I put them on there, because it wasn't like, oh, these are Drewski's favorite DJs or the best DJs, because I have favorite DJs. I have Camilo favorite club DJs, you know what I'm saying? Enough Cypher sounds, like Cypher put me on. It was just like, these are the DJs that I remember as a young man, that they were producing records, putting out records, like real mixtapes that were moving units, that were selling. Whether I went to Broad Street in Newark and I see DJ Clue mixtape, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were putting out original music, and that's why I put them there, because that was the influence I had.
Definitely. So it's always dope to pay homage. So was that like the inspiration behind the title, Sit at the Table?
Yeah, because the title's kind of strong, right? And if somebody walking in the room talking about, I want my seat at the table, I didn't want it to come off like arrogant or aggressive. It's just, that's what it is. For you too. Like, you deserve your seat at the table, but we're not going to come off like, you know, ugly. You know what I'm saying? In a sense. So it was my way to kind of show love and pay respect to the people that did it, that created these opportunities. We know we probably wouldn't be here without some of those people. So that was my way of just showing love, but also letting you know, like, listen, we here now. It's a new generation. It's a new time. It's new energy. And we just, we're not taking nothing away from what you did, but we here too. So that was the vibe of it.
We bring that energy. You know, this album, man, from start to finish, is fire. It's straight heat. You know, you got a lot of people on there. You got A Boogie, Trap Manny, Fabio, Sleepy Hollow, Dream Dog, Cowboy, right?
Yeah.
Coi Leray, she's on fire right now.
Super fire.
A lot of people want to come up. How was the process with getting all of these artists to come together, right, and commit their time to this project? Because all of these artists are working on their own projects, doing their own thing on the road, you know, trying to maintain during this pandemic and everything like that. How was it? How was the process?
Well, the key word you said was pandemic. So I feel like if there was any time to catch these artists, it was during the pandemic, because even as a DJ, all our shows was canceled. So what we had nothing else to do but work on new ideas and new stuff. So for me, I'm not an artist. I'm not a rapper, so I'm not making my own records. But I felt like, yo, this is the time for me to complete this idea I had, complete this project. And the artists were locked in the studio just cooking up. So I felt like, yo, this is the perfect time, because there's no excuse if I hit somebody and they're like, what you doing? You're not on tour. You're not doing club. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, hold me down the way I held you down. And I think the pandemic is what really helped this project too, like kind of complete it. There were songs that didn't get done in time or didn't get cleared in time and, stuff like that. But for the most part, I was able to put together 13 records and drop it and go crazy.
You did a lot of work with Pop Smoke prior to him passing. Did you have any records with Pop Smoke that you probably was going to put on a project, or we may hear in the future?
Yeah, of course. So actually, the first record I did for this project was a record with Pop Smoke and Little TJ before they had any records, right? So we did a record. I called it Mary Jane. It's on YouTube. It got leaked, but we never got it cleared. So it never went out the way it was supposed to. We never could put it out. But Pop Smoke passes away a few months after we did the record. And for me, I was like, I'm good. I'm not putting it out. I'm not looking like I'm capitalizing off of my man's death. The record is done. It's going in the stash. It'll never come out. But the blessing of it is that they actually used the Pop Smoke verse off of my record. They put it on the Woo record with 50 Cent and Rowdy Rich. So I felt like, yo, that was a blessing. And not only did they do that, they did right by me too. So if you go look up the producer credits and all that, you'll see DJ Drewski on it. So it actually, I feel like it worked out way better than it probably would have if I would have put it out on my own.
That's dope.
That's
super dope. The first single that you did put out was 2020 Vision. How did you select this record? Like, how did you know that this one is the one to introduce this album?
Yeah, when we put out 2020 Vision, I just, I'm in tune with my guys. So I knew Chef and Sleepy are already going crazy. And, they're known to make the drill music. You always hear them on drill records. And I just felt like for this one, I wanted to take them out of that element and kind of show their talent and their ability to do other stuff. So when you listen to 2020 Vision, it's still Chef and Sleepy, but it's a whole different type of beat. And they not only did they body the beat, but they actually sat there with the producer, shout to AR, and built the beat to the way they wanted it. I played them other beats. We played them. They're like, nah, we're going to build it. We want to switch this. We want to add this. And in my head, I'm like, all right, so if they're building the beat, if they're helping produce this record, they're going to be more excited about it when it's time to record it. And that's exactly what went down. And when you listen to it, we had fun. They were like, when I needed the video done, they were right there. So, shout to Chef, shout to Sleepy, the whole Winner Circle. Like, those are really my guys. And they know before they had platinum out, records, before Sleepy had 100 million streams on a record, I was there. You know what I'm saying? I'm supporting as much as I could. So it's just that same type of energy. Shout to Clinton Sparks, who's here. He's another inspiration. Like, yeah, Clinton Sparks, me as a young kid, like watching what he was doing and still doing. Like, now he could put out a book to teach you how to do it. You know what I'm saying? So You know, these are dudes that got experience, that been through this, that know the grind, that know the hustle, dealing with not just artists, but their managers and their lawyers and their labels. Like the shit is not easy. So shout out to Clinton Sparks for always being one of those dudes to inspire young people like myself.
Big facts. Big
Mm-hmm.
facts. King, the response that you've been getting off this project, did you expect it? Sometimes like we put stuff together and we're like, I don't know how it's gonna go, how we're gonna perceive it.
Right.
Especially when a DJ puts out an album, that's like it can either make or kind of like break your career. Did you expect the response that you're getting because you're on fire right now?
Yeah, no, I knew what I had. I knew the records we had, the artists I had, but I didn't set any expectations. And I'm not like, even my team tells me, you got to be a little more aggressive. I'm like, I'm not that loud type of person. I'm not an actor. I'm not gonna try to sell you on stuff or be on Instagram trying to sell you or beg you to listen to the music. Like we got some classic records. Like I'm talking about some of your favorite artists now, and I already know the next wave of the superstar artists. So I already knew what we had, what I was working with. So I didn't even expect nothing, because in this game it's so crazy. Like you set a bar, and then you kind of hard on yourself. And I just took it as it is. I said, yo, we put in work. I got the hottest artist, the next hot artist, and this is what it is. Like I made sure every record we put out, I was happy with, that I felt, as an A&R, as a producer, that the people would rock with, and this is what it is. Like it's not even for me, so I could care less. I'm happy. I want to make sure the people are happy. So it really had no expectations, but based on what how it been received, it's been extremely like crazy, and I'm excited. Like I'm like, okay, cool. I ain't expect much, but I'm getting much, and I'm good. Like,
It's a blessing.
mm-hmm.
It's a blessing.
Definitely a blessing.
What's some of the artists from the new generation you think that's gonna have longevity and really have a big impact on the culture?
We got like some of the artists that's on the project. Like I feel like Dream Doll is now really coming into herself. I think people are respecting her as an artist now. When you listen to her music, she got bars. She got the
I
look.
remember she's been putting in work for a long
Yes.
time, and people didn't take her seriously for a long, long time. So
Yeah.
I'm loving everything that she's doing right now. So shout out to Dream.
Yeah, artists like Dream, they get overlooked. You see a beautiful girl, you think like, oh, she's just a beautiful girl. But now if you go listen to her music, you hear the difference, like how she's coming. So, and these are just artists I'm talking about, like out of New York and Jersey. Because we got an artist out of Jersey, shout out to Mr. Chicken, who everyone's watching right now, you know what I'm saying? And he's definitely in tune with all the young boys and running around with Rich the Kid, Famous Dex, because, they see the energy that he's giving off. So, Mr. Chicken, I feel like for Jersey, he's been holding it down for a while, but now like his time, like these next couple of years, is going to be crucial for him to just go crazy and just keep dropping music. It's so many artists. You got the drill artists, you got the Fabio Foreigns that are free Fabio right now. I heard he got into some shit, but that are just owning the city right now, and we don't know. Drill might last another 2 years, it might last 10 years. But is what's happening right now? They owning it, and they're the kings of it. So and then you got young boys from Brooklyn like 26AR who's coming right behind them. You know what I'm saying? And that's super new. That's super young. Girls like Young Devin who's doing the drill stuff now. Like so there's so many artists, and every day we get new music that it's just about keeping up and staying relevant.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel good about the current state of hip hop?
Oh yeah, I feel great. I love it. Like, you see how much new music we get, how many new artists we get. It's not like being dictated by certain people or by the big labels. Sometimes, like, the artists have that attitude, like, yo, you don't want to sign me? I'm still dropping records. I'm still putting up numbers. Yeah, the numbers.
Freedom, man. The freedom, and the freedom to be creative and kind of just do whatever you want to do. You see that in music more now than ever.
Yeah, that's a fact, because you don't got to wait no more, to put out music. If you independent, I could record a record right now in the studio and drop it tonight. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, as DJs, we get flooded with new music, and we got to now filter through it all. But the fact that artists could just be creative and put out what they want, I think is important.
Speaking of New York and speaking of hip hop, of course, New York and the culture, the rest of the world is mourning
Yeah, X,
DMX.
X, X. I see you
X,
got the shirt on.
Black Rob, definitely much love to my brother, man, Black Rob. Can you recall any favorite moments or memories with either of them that you may have?
Yeah, with DMX, it was pretty recent, like probably like a year, 2 years, not a year ago. It had to be like 2 years ago before the pandemic. I was DJing like a club. I think it was in Yonkers, a White Plains, like a strip club. And the DJ booth was like kind of right by the entrance of the door. So I'm DJing, doing my thing, and then my man is like, "Yo, look like DMX." So I'm looking, I'm like, "Oh shit, it does look like DMX." But you know, it's like a little distance. He walks in, he's in there for like 10 minutes. While I'm DJing, I look over and it's DMX. Like he's walking up to the booth, showing love. Like he knew who I was, so I'm like even extra excited. Like, oh shit, DMX knows who I am. And he was just kicking it, chilling. Went outside, smoking cigarettes, kicking it with everyone. I was like, yo, like X is one of the realest artists I met. Like he don't even realize how much of a legend he was at the time, but just to be in the club, regular person, you know what I'm saying? I went to play a couple of his records. He's like, Drewski, you don't even gotta play all the hot shit. Like, don't even play. I was like, damn, I'ma still show love. Like as a DJ, you instantly stop playing whatever artist walks in the building. You stop want to play their music. But he was on a different type of time. Like, yo, don't worry about my music. Let's just go crazy. Let's have fun. I was like, yo, I respect that. Like he's a real OG. So yeah,
Bro,
forever X.
you know, the crazy thing is that I think that everyone from New York has an X story. And it's crazy just how many people he has touched. Like, you know, when I first saw X, I was 9 years old. I was like, probably like 11 maybe years old, 11, 12 years old. And I was running around in the Bronx, in Castle Hill. And of course, like years later, I worked with him and I did shows and everything with him.
Right.
As a kid, I was at a gas station, probably like a BP or some shit like that. And I was with my homie. And you know how somebody's online and sometimes they're not like all the way to the front.
Right.
You know how as a kid you feel like, oh, I can skip, I can. This guy's not paying attention.
Push your way in.
You know what I mean? You can push your way in. This guy's not freaking paying attention. And he had a hoodie. He had his hoodie on. He was with somebody else, and we jumped in front of him. And next thing you know, I hear the voice behind me like, "Yo, you don't see me standing." I'm like, "Oh shit!" You know what I mean? It's X. And I never told this story to anyone before. Only person who knows the story is probably like my fiance and
right,
my
family.
And yo, he checked us. And he was like, "Yo, y'all must be rushing to get something." Blah 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 blah. And we gassed it up like, "Yeah, we about to go see some girls or something like that." We gassed it up. We wasn't going to do nothing.
Right.
Kids. But he checked us for skipping them, and he paid for our stuff.
I was gonna ask, did he pay for it?
Yeah, he paid for it. He paid for our stuff. And you know, years later, I got a chance to book shows with him and do shows and stuff like that with him. And you know, I never kind of brought up the story. You know what I mean? I probably kind of figured like he wouldn't remember, type thing, and I never brought up the story. You know.
Yeah, I just feel like that's the type of person he was. Like, I'm sure he did that 1,000 times. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was just one of the realest artists, but people at the same time. And, you know, when we speak about him, I think it's important for, like, even the younger generation to be okay with being yourself. That's what I tell a lot of these artists, too, that I work with, because, you know, they're young kids. Like, yo, you don't got to be someone else. Like, be yourself. Some of the greatest artists of our time, like, DMX is one of the greats, the GOATs. He was himself the whole time, like
always.
Yeah, so
always,
it's okay.
No matter what it was, and no matter what it was, he was raw. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, he was either gonna love him or he was either gonna hate him.
And that's it. That's the way it should be.
You couldn't hate him because he was so real.
Right.
You know what I mean? He would pray in the club. I seen DMX pray on stage. He would stop the show in the middle of a show and pray.
Yeah, he was the realest.
He'll be backstage smoking a cigarette on the mic before he even come out, praying for the people. You know what I mean? So just much love to his family. Condolences to everybody, you know, everybody who loved X, and condolences to everybody who loved Black Rob. You know what I mean? Another guy that really kind of helped shape the culture with the music that he was dropping when he first came out. Now, can you recall the energy like the first time you heard Whoa?
Yeah, not even the first time. You could play that in the club.
You could play today.
Yeah, today you could play it and it still gets a reaction. That's how you know how impactful that record was. So, you know, I don't even remember how old I was when Woe came out, but it was one of those records that if we dropped it, you know, in today's world, it would be one of those viral TikTok streaming records. That's how big it was, you know. But you know, it came at a time where I feel like that was a new sound, like for hip hop. To, you know, they having fun making catchy, super catchy hooks, and the whole record was just catchy, the whole joint. But yeah, the fact that you can still play it today and people know and will sing along to it, that's how you know, you know, these dudes wasn't playing. Like, these is hit records.
Big facts, man. Big facts. Condolences to the family and friends of Black Rob
Yeah,
as
of
well.
course.
You know, someone said in the comments a little while ago that they love you on Love and Hip Hop. So I wasn't even gonna touch on Love and Hip Hop, but since somebody said it. Doing reality TV, I know you can give a lot of your life
Right.
to that. Would you ever return?
Yeah, you give a lot.
Like that?
You give what you want, right? So when you see people up there acting crazy or looking goofy or doing stuff, they not being told, like, you know, they give what as much as you want. So I never wanted to give everything. It's like, all right, I'm gonna give you enough to make some good TV and to have fun and, you know, to entertain. But people were like, yo, you made it out safe. Like, you ain't look crazy. I said, no, not. You don't gotta look crazy if you do it the right way.
People think it's like a pool, right? It's like a big pool, and they put you at the bottom. You gotta try like float to the top.
Nah, you give what you want, and I think, you know, as long as I have control over that, I would definitely do it again. You know what I'm saying? I love it. I enjoy it. It took me to a whole different level from DJing locally in the tri-state to now DJing all over the world. Like, that's a big step. So I know how important it was to do that for my brand, and I know how impactful that brand was. So I had fun doing it. I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? And I would definitely do it again if it made sense.
Definitely, man. Salute, King, man. Thank you for your time. You know, you got the new album out.
Yes, sir.
Table is doing its thing. You know, another thing I want to say to you, King, like, you really, if y'all don't know, Drewski really does keep his ear to the streets. He really does support a lot of artists before they break, and, you know, continue to show him love, continue to support his project. I remember, like, my bro Conan. Me and Conan, we went to high school together, and I remember the first time Conan called me and was like, yo, Drewski played my record. You know what I mean? And the love, you know what I mean, that you give people, I don't think that, you know, so we just want to give you your flowers, King, man, and just tell you that we appreciate you and everything that you're doing for the culture, man, what you're doing for New York hip-hop as well, man.
Yeah, nah, I appreciate you as well, like, what you do. And like you said, like, Conan's reaction is why I do it. If I could make somebody's day, somebody's life happy, I'm going to do that. You know what I'm saying? And if I can inspire other artists and just other people to keep following their dreams, sometimes it just takes me to listen to somebody's record and they'll tell me, you know, years later, like, yo, the fact that you just listened to my record made me keep recording or made me keep at it. So, you know, it don't take much to show love and show support. People act like it's the hardest thing and the biggest thing in the world, but they'll go listen and stream and play people they don't even know. You know what I'm saying? And big them up and posting them on their stories and on their Instagram. They never even spoke to them. They don't even know them. Nothing.
Yo,
but,
listen, to support somebody, man, it could be 100% free.
Right. It is.
I mean, to play somebody's record is 100% free.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not like you got to pay to play. You know what I mean? The record, it's not like you got to, you know what I mean, do something out there.
If you pay for Spotify already, you pay for Tidal already, however you stream your music, YouTube is free. It's like, why not support someone you actually know? You know what I'm saying? That's their dream. I gave it my all to do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? I dedicated my whole life, messed up relationships, took away time with my family to DJ and build relationships and do this. And I'm not even talking about myself. I'm saying, like, the local artists that you know, show a little love. Like, if you listen, if you don't like the music and you don't believe in it, I'm not saying to show love, but if you low key listening to it, post it. Show, you know what I'm saying? If you think they got potential, show it. If I feel like an artist got potential and they working hard and they putting in as much work as they could already, I'm a support it. You know, I don't even know them, but I just see, they dedicating their whole life to this, and the music is actually okay, or the artist is great, and we're gonna show love. So that's really what I tell people is like, stop supporting people you don't even know, while you got people around you that's like giving they all. Now, if they half-assing it and like playing around with it, we know the difference.
You understand?
We know the difference. Yeah, you know how much it costs to put out an album, to you gotta do clearances and pay producers and shoot videos and locations. Just for Airbnb, you're talking money. So it's like, I'm using the Airbnb to shoot the video. You got to pay the videographer, you got to pay the director, you got to pay the lighting, you got to pay. So it's like, we're not doing this for fun. This is really our dream. So all we ask is for some support. I'm not even asking you to contribute to my dream. I'm just asking you to listen to the music once it's done. So that's really all, the only thing is like.
And music is a soundtrack to our lives.
Right. When you was locked down during the pandemic, everyone's running to the DJ now, jumping on the lives, listening, going streaming, doing podcasts. We kept you entertained the whole pandemic. At your worst time, when you had nothing else to do, you came to the DJ, you came to entertainers and hosts for your entertainment. So if you seen people like ourselves pushing through this pandemic and not giving up, right? We didn't give up. You still doing FloWay. I'm still doing what I do. I'm still on the radio. I still got podcasts, still putting out music. Like, it's like, we really do this. So all we ask is for your support and lend us your ear, and maybe 1 or 2 streams. That's nothing. Like, you in the car, you at home, you at work, you can do it. So that's really it.
That's facts. The support is free, man. Drewski, I ask everyone who come on here, what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh man, I just want, people to know, Drewski did it to inspire others. He did it to, make other people happy, whether it was the artist for support, whether it's just a listener. Like, when I'm on the radio, when I'm in the club, I don't do it because of me. I'm actually up there working. I'm sweating. I'm stressed out. I got to figure out the next record. It's really for the people. Like, if you with me at that time, if we're sharing that energy for that time together, when you in the club and you drinking, you having fun, you with your friends, your girls, I want you to be able to escape reality and just enjoy yourself for that moment, because life is crazy. Every day is something, nuts, and we see what's going on in the world. So while we share this energy, I just want you to be able to escape reality and just enjoy yourself for those 60 minutes, 90 minutes. As long as I'm here and I'm entertaining, that's pretty much it.
Much love, King. Much love, King. Love you, well said, man. Y'all make sure y'all support that album. Seat at the Table is everywhere. Run the numbers up. Continue to support my guy. Before you get up out of here, where you at this weekend? I know you got some stuff going on. What clubs you in?
Oh yeah, so tomorrow, Friday night, Manga Lounge in Linden, New Jersey. Then Saturday we at the Ritz Theater. It's me and Coyle Ray. She got a big show going on, so we'll be there. So that's this weekend, Friday, Saturday. And then of course I'm on the radio too. Make sure you tune in. Saturdays 3 p.m. to 7. Sundays 11 to midnight. That's the new Movement show. And then weekdays, the new at 2 a.m. mix.
HOT97, the vibes. Drewski. Listen, my executive producer, like she said, who was the last 2 people that's on the album art? It's probably just a space, Trace. Like, I guess.
Oh, behind me?
Yes, your chair, something that's covering.
Yeah, no. So we left that. We left that blank so the people. But let me tell you, there was. These are some of the people. Shout out to Clinton Sparks, who was on the chat earlier. He was definitely one of those names. DJ Mustard was one of those names. DJ Snake was one of those names. Who else? Damn, there was like someone else. But there was a couple people that I said when we moved that chair, and that's revealed. Those are the names we're gonna throw on there.
Dope. Thank you, my brother, for your time, man.
Nah, I appreciate you. Anytime. We here. We outside. Seat at the table. Go run it up.
Run it up. All right, my brother. Be safe, man.